What's up, interwebs? Welcome to the Storytime Podcast. I'm Tim Green.
I'm Adam.
And this is the first season of the Storytime Podcast. We're going through my first novel I ever wrote, Angelic Wars, Legend of the Godchild, Book 1. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Angelic Wars, Book 1.
Yeah, come on. Get it right.
I gotta get it right. This is separate from the Skylar Grant podcast. That was the genesis of this, but it's not a Storytime one. Each season will be something different.
Yeah.
You want more, go check out the Storytime podcast intro and what is going to be there. But today, we are going to be going through Chapter 3 of Angelic Wars, Legend of the Godchild. So what we're going to do is Adam will do the reading. We've pre-recorded, and we'll come back and discuss it afterwards. But before we get to that reading, if you enjoy this, why don't you go and hit that note, smash that like button. Smash that like button and do it as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe, because I got writing content on this channel. And that's good. Oh, and if you like bad gameplay, video gameplay, go check out Adam's channel.
Plug. It is ZOP Gaming.
Yep. Go check it out. He's terrible at it.
Yeah.
He knows it.
Exactly.
Go and check that out. Okay, now the plugs are done. We'll get to the reading.
Chapter 3. Discovery. Why can't I find one page that will tell me what I want to know? Said Sage as he sat in the school's cafe in a separate room in the gym building. He sat at his normal table with his favorite drink, a raspberry Snapple iced tea, which was left to his laptop computer. He had been searching the net for an hour looking for information on how to interpret dreams. However, not a single page he went to told him that. It always talked about how it was an art or a gift from a higher being. Getting frustrated that he could not find the information, he sat back in his chair and took his drink and gulped what was left of it before placing it back on the table. They call this the highway of information, Sage said. Yet, when you want to find something specific, you can never find it unless millions of people are interested in it. He sat in his chair thinking of other word combinations that he could type into the search engine that might give him the information he wanted. After a few moments, he thought of the information and quickly typed it in. A moment later, a page came up saying, "No search results." Sage leaned back into his chair, disappointed. "I'm never going to figure out what my dreams mean," he said as he stared at the table. He reached for his drink but noticed it was empty. He pulled out his wallet from his pocket and quickly opened it to see how much money he had. $6. Looks like I am going to have to use my debit card to pay for dinner tonight. Sage stood up and quickly stretched before heading over to the counter. He stepped down onto the floor from the small stage his table was on. He walked around a few tables, then followed the bar to the lit-up display case. There were a few people waiting, so he got in line and waited his turn. While he was waiting, he began to think of other places he could look that might have what he was looking for. What time is it? He asked himself as he searched for the clock. He got out of line to check the big clock that faced the direction of his table. 1:15. I still have more than enough time before I need to get back home. Sage returned to his place in line. After a few minutes, it was his turn. The girl behind the counter was a little younger than he. She was about 19, only 2 years younger. Her long, dark brown hair was pulled back into a ponytail. She had a black Red Creek Community College Cafe shirt and blue jeans on. "Let me guess. A raspberry iced tea," said the girl. "Yeah," Sage replied. "How did you know?" "You're in here every afternoon," she answered as he walked over to the display case and pulled an iced tea from the back and walked over and placed it down in front of Sage. "You always get that or a Pepsi. And it didn't take me long before I had it memorized." "That's pretty good," he said, handing her the money for the drink. "How did you know I wanted an iced tea?" "Well, you got one when you first came in," she continued. "Normally, you only get Pepsi when you're tired or you have a lot of work to do. You look a little tired, but I have noticed that you always get iced tea when you are stressed out or frustrated, hands down." "Boy, you're good," Sage said. "I am Sage." "And you are?" "I'm Raven," the girl said. "I know who you are. You're in my history class. I don't know why you're in a freshman class. Aren't you a junior?" "I should be," Sage said. "I took a year off from high school before I came here. I also failed the class last year." "How?" Raven said. "You're always answering his questions. Dr. Hill has said several times that you have knowledge of history like you were there or at least witnessed it. I had cut too many classes, Sage said. I got a lot of headaches my first semester here. Luckily, that was the only class I failed. I would have passed it, but I was far behind in the work before I started missing classes, even though Dr. Hill said he would pass me if I could get all the work in. Oh, Raven said. So what's got you so stressed out that you need this iced tea? I'm looking up dream interpretation on the net, Sage answered. Oh, really? She replied. I wouldn't take you as one of those people who are interested in that kind of stuff. I figured you would take things as they are instead of having a deeper meaning. You may have figured out the drink I always get, Sage said. However, I am a whole different story. I'm a lot more complicated than most people. Mind if I try? She said. Go right ahead, he replied. About 5 years ago, you lost your memory, she continued. You have no clue to anything about yourself since that time except your name. However, you aren't even sure if that's your name, since it was the only thing you knew. You thought it was your name. You were taken in by a family that takes in kids who are up for adoption, but have never had a steady home. After living with them for a few years, they decided to adopt you. Once you finished high school, you took a year off to find yourself. Since that didn't work, you decided to go to college. Are you a mind reader or something? Sage asked. No, Raven answered. You have come in here every day since you came to this school. You're just one of those people who stick out in a crowd. You know, there is something different about you. Instead of being one of those who are loud, you're always quiet. Since last spring semester, I have been asking around. It took me all last semester and this semester to find all that out. How did you find out all that information? Sage asked. I found nothing out about you at all last semester, she continued. No one even knew who I was talking about when I asked about you. My sister is in your psychology class, and you shared all that with the class. Oh yeah, he replied. I forgot about that. The professor wanted me to share some since the class deals with that stuff. Raven, said a voice from the back. I need your help. Coming, she replied. It was nice talking to you, Sage. I hope you find what you're looking for. Oh yeah, I saw a book over in the library on dream interpretation. Oh, thanks for telling me, Sage said. No problem, Raven said. I'll see you around. But a little advice. You would be wise to take whatever you need that book for as what it is instead of a deeper meaning. You have a path to look into instead of trying to dig into something you have no clue about. If you knew the reasons why I was looking into dream interpretation, he said, doing that would be highly unlikely. Thanks for the advice. I still stand by what I said, she replied. Okay, bye. Bye, Raven said, reaching her hand out and placing his change into his hand. Raven walked back to where she was being called. Sage was not too sure about what she meant about staying with her advice. He didn't think much about it and returned back to his seat. Once there, he sat back down, opened his tea, and took a sip. After setting his drink down on the table, his cell phone began to ring. He picked it up and answered it. Hello, Sage said. This is Chris Strong, Sage Richard's secretary. How can I help you? Sage, said a girl's voice, stop pretending that you're important enough to have a secretary. Sorry, Sage said. What can I do for you, Natalie? Josh Knapp just called and wants me to go over to his house and hang out, Natalie said. Can I go? Are his parents or an older sibling going to be there? One that is over 18 years old or other friends? No, Natalie said. It's just going to be us. Then no, Sage said. You know Mom and Dad's rule? Unless there's going to be a group or a parent or sibling over the age of 18 there, you can't go. Come on, Natalie said. He is the cutest guy in the 9th grade. I don't go, then he will ask another girl out. So, Sage said. So, she said, I have been hoping that this guy would ask me out since school started. Finally has, and just because my parents have rules against it, I can't go. They're out of town, so it's not like they will find out. The answer is no, Sage said. You might just want to ask yourself why he has invited you over to his house when his parents aren't home. Sounds like he wants to do something that he doesn't want his parents to know about. Fine, Natalie said. By the way, what time are you going to be back? It's a little after 1, so I should be back around 4. Sage said as a thought popped into his head, which was Natalie inviting Josh over to his apartment while he was gone. Okay, Natalie said, I'll see you then. Don't even think about inviting Josh over to the apartment while I am gone, Sage said. How did you know that I was going to do that? Natalie asked, shocked that he knew what she was thinking. She didn't realize. She said it out loud. So you were planning on it, Sage said. I'm going to call Mrs. Rose to keep an eye on you, and to give me a call if you have someone come over, and to follow you if you go anywhere. Fine, Natalie said angrily. See you when you get back. Natalie hung up, but Sage didn't wait a second and dialed Mrs. Rose's number, and after 3 rings, she picked up. Hello? Said Mrs. Rose. Hey, Mrs. Rose, Sage said. I have a request to ask you. Sure, dear. What is it? She asked. You know Natalie Richards, right? He asked. You know, my foster sister. Of course. Karen and John's oldest daughter, said Mrs. Rose. Yeah, Sage said. Well, she and Kiana are staying with me while our parents are away this week. I have a feeling that Natalie might go over to a guy's house or invite him over while I'm gone. If you see her leave or have a guy come over, can you contact me, please? I would be more than happy to, answered Mrs. Rose. I owe you for all of the times you feed my 2 cats when I'm away visiting my grandkids. You have my cell phone number, right? Sage asked. I sure do, said Mrs. Rose. Thanks a lot, Mrs. Rose, Sage said. No problem, said Mrs. Rose. I'll be sure to call you if she leaves or has a guy come over. Talk to you later, Sage said before hanging up. After setting his phone back on the table, he just realized that he knew what Natalie was up to without her even telling him. That started to freak him out, but he quickly dismissed it as something that any teen would think of if they were told no. After a few more minutes went by before Sage decided to stop wasting his time trying to find any information on the internet, he stood up as he shut his laptop. He began to unhook the power cord. Why take my computer? Sage said. Just going to the library to find a book. I can take it out and bring it right back here. So Sage reconnected the power cord to his computer, then walked back over to the counter where Raven was wiping it down. Hey, Raven, he said, do you remember the name of that book you told me about? It's been a while since I saw it, she replied. Let me think. After a few moments, Raven thought about what the name of the book was. Then, just like a light turned on, the name came to her. It's called Dream Dictionary, Understanding Your Dreams, she said. Thanks, Sage said. I'm going to see if that book has anything that might help me. I hope it does, she replied. However, I don't think it will. Well, I am about to find out, he said. While I'm over at the library, can you keep an eye on my stuff? Make sure no one touches it. Sure, Raven said. I'm off in 30 minutes, so you better hurry. Okay, Sage said. Thanks again. No problem, she replied. Sage headed out of the gym entrance into the breezy October afternoon. It was cool, but it was still warm. He jogged over to the corner of the main building where he started to walk. As he came around, the main building of the library was right in front of him. He glanced to his right as he walked past the corner of the building. He saw 2 juniors from the football team pushing and shoving a skinny senior. Sage thought he should break it up, but he was on a quest and didn't want to sidetrack, so he kept on his path towards the library. However, he kept his eye on what was going on with the 3 guys. As he reached the steps of the library, he saw one of the 2 guys pick up the skinny guy and carry him on his shoulder to the back of the main building. Sage decided he needed to get involved. A teacher was coming out of the glass doors, so he walked up to him. 2 guys from the football team just took a skinny guy behind the main building. He told him, Did you see who they were? The teacher asked. No, Sage replied. Can you call the campus police? I'm going to go break it up. Okay, said the teacher. I'll be there once I notify the police. Sure, Sage said. He took off, running as fast as he could. He didn't realize how fast he ran until he got to the far corner of the main building. It is a good 200 yards between the 2 buildings, and he reached the other end in a few seconds. Not worrying about how fast he ran, he turned the corner and saw the 2 guys beating on the skinny guy. Sage walked over to them, trying not to be threatening. He was hoping they wouldn't see him until he was within distance to help defend the other guy. He was in luck. He got about 10 feet from them when he spoke up. What's going on, guys? He asked. What do you mean? the taller guy asked, stepping towards him. You're Brad Kingsley, Sage said, captain of the men's lacrosse team. I see you know who I am, he replied. Well, if you're the captain of the football team, Sage continued, why do you think it's all right that you two beat on this guy who is clearly no match for either of you one-on-one? You see, the nerd and I had a deal, Brad said. He would do my homework, and I wouldn't beat the crap out of him. And just when I have a 20-page paper due, he tells me he's not gonna do it. I thought he was joking, so I left him alone. When I came to get it, he didn't have it. So he needs to be taught a lesson. Know that I mean business. Now, unless you want the same beating, I suggest you forget what you saw here and leave. I can't do that, Sage said. The campus police have been called and will be here soon. I suggest you just leave him as well as anyone else whom you might try to make do your homework alone. And I might not inform academics and admissions. I am sure you don't want them to find out about this. Fine, Brad said. I'll leave him alone. However, you better watch your back. I'll make sure you get what's coming to you. Whatever, said Sage. Brad and his buddy turned and started walking away. Sage turned and helped the skinny guy up to his feet. He made sure that he was all right. He brushed him off when he saw that Brad had stopped only a few feet away. Brad only turned and began to walk away so Sage wouldn't see him pull out a knife. Once the blade was out, he turned back around and thrust the knife at Sage's chest. Sage knew what he was going to do before he did it, so he had shoved the skinny guy out of the way as he turned his body so the knife would miss. At the same time, he chopped the guy's arm right at the joint with his right hand and chopped him in the throat. Brad dropped to the ground gasping for air, and his buddy could not believe what he just saw. It all happened so fast. He didn't even see Sage sidestep the knife. Brad's buddy did not hesitate to jump him, but it wasn't any good. Sage knew that he was going to attack, so he turned around and grabbed the arm he was throwing a punch with and picked him up and dropped him right down in front of his legs. Still holding the arm, he laid the elbow across his leg and added pressure. The guy they were picking on just stood there with his jaw wide open, because Sage did all that faster than he did in taking down Brad. Most of what he did was just a blur to him. Sage looked around and saw Brad was hardly breathing, and he still had his friend in an arm bar, so he couldn't do anything unless he wanted his arm broken. What happened here? The teacher asked, coming around the corner. He was protecting me? Said the kid before Sage could say anything. They were beating me up for not doing their homework. Sage got them to back down, but Brad pulled a knife and tried to stab him. He was just defending himself. I'll take that as true, said the teacher. You can let go of his arm. He isn't going to do anything. Okay, Sage said. What took you so long? I thought you were going to come as soon as you called campus police. I did, the teacher said. It's only been 3 minutes since you talked to me. What? Sage said. He was shocked that it had only been that short. Now that he thought about it, he quickly took down the guys so when they were talking is what made it about 3 minutes. Well, son, the teacher said, you must know how to defend yourself. Take down 2 football players their size all by yourself is pretty amazing. You're telling me, Sage said. However, I never took self-defense for the last 7 years.
Okay, so, what do you want to talk about, Adam? I wonder what you want to talk about first.
Tim, the amount of dialogue that you had in here.
Oh,
Sage said. So-and-so said.
Get used to it.
Sage said.
Get used to it.
This is happening. Sage said.
Get used to it. Get used to it. That's 90% of this novel.
And I only have one line that
only one out of this entire novel so far.
So far, I've had this is the one line.
There's gonna be a few more. Nowhere as bad as Skylar Grant, but there'll be a few. I guarantee.
That hung me up.
Yes, multiple times.
I suggest you just leave him as well as anyone else whom you might try to make do your homework alone. And I might not inform academics and admissions.
What's wrong? That's like the perfect sentence.
Oh, there's like 3 sentences all crammed in there.
Nope, it's one sentence. I don't know what you're talking about. It's how English works, Adam.
Oh my God.
You really need to. Yeah, I know. When I was transcribing that, I went like, huh? What? I cannot tell you if I kept it or if I fixed it. I want to say I fixed it, but because at this point in the novel, I think I was just transcribing things, so I might have kept it.
So, I mean, overall, though, a pretty interesting scene.
Okay, we got that part out of the way. Let's just go into the actual big picture of this chapter. Dealing with the sages trying to figure out why his dreams.
What his dreams mean.
Yes.
Because he don't understand it. I'm a warrior.
Yes. So what do you think overall?
I mean, pretty good. You know, it moves characters along.
Yes.
We get. I love the fact that you had Raven in here in this chapter.
Raven. Yep.
Purely as exposition.
Yes.
You gave us a background on on Sage that was incredibly unnecessary.
Not necessarily unnecessary.
No, but
how much?
It was just in my reading, I purposely did it as a no, you know what? I know all this about you. Boom, 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 boom.
And that's how it's supposed to go. Because you're supposed to be like, wait, can you read minds? And you nailed that line. Like how you say like, can you read minds? That's like,
like, no, you said this in this class that my sister's in. He's like,
oh,
right. Yeah. Like, there are moments where I really want to take Sage as a stoner because holy crap, he doesn't remember doing things that he did.
Yeah.
That he then goes, oh yeah, I totally said all of that in front of my class, to my class, so that they could help me with it.
Not help me with it, so I can help them understand what we're talking about in this class.
Yeah. What?
I've taken psychology classes before. We've never covered stuff.
No.
Like, you may touch on stuff, but like not like this level.
Like it's not supposed to be therapy. It's a class.
It was more like this is what he's gone through, so he's just telling his story.
Oh yeah,
because he has it. It wasn't supposed to help, but yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like okay. It's exposition. That's the whole point there.
Exposition.
But yeah, we do get introduction to a character that kind of is important, but not important.
Like right away, Raven is the least important person in this chapter, but has too much information already.
It's there for exposition, but it also is kind of supposed to serve another point. Maybe. I get it. You know what I'm talking about already, but like when we get to those chapters, when I can reveal what I'm hinting
it's
at,
also.
But
by this point, there's a pattern of if it's a named character, they have an importance to the story.
Kind of. So, but yeah.
Unless you're Brad. Fuck you, Brad.
Though when you first said his name, when you said you know who you're talking to, like that's not how I was thinking.
No,
and then you immediately went to.
Okay.
But
like that was the right away of me just being like, this character is so arrogant that he is actually taking it as a compliment that Sage knows who he is.
Because I wrote on my notes here while you're reading, Brad believes he's in high school. He's still in high school?
Oh, yeah. No. He is still in high school.
Oh, yeah. No. That's how I kind of wrote him because this is a good community college.
Yeah. This dude peaked in high school.
And
he didn't make it to the States.
No.
Okay? They didn't win the championship, but he still peaked in high school.
Yes, and he still treats it like high school because he can't fathom life without being that guy, the guy.
I honestly have no idea what he's going to do after college.
Oh, don't worry, he won't make it.
Okay,
college.
Good.
We're gonna meet another character who's technically the Brad of his high school.
Oh God!
At some point, we hear his name in this chapter.
Oh.
Josh Knapp.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure the next chapter we'll get a little peek at
the Brad, our next most arrogant guy.
yes.
All right.
I believe it's in the next chapter. It's in the next few chapters. It's in the next 2 chapters.
I know right away. I did not do Natalie's voice the same way that I did it last time.
No.
And that's going to happen.
It's going to happen because we're not recording this back to back.
Yeah.
There's gaps in between there. But oh well. But yeah.
She still has a female voice, and it's still kind of close because I slowly got into it.
Oh, so Adam, I do have a question.
Yo, what's up?
So what are Junior's janitors?
I don't know. I don't know.
You read that like a couple of janitors and like a couple of juniors and like junior janitors? Janitor janitors?
Look, I got a little ahead of myself while reading.
Yes.
And I saw the J and an N in there and an R, and my brain went janitor. And I was like, I know that's not correct. Juniors.
So I just had to put that down there. Also, so it's football? No, it's lacrosse. Wait. Later on, we're like, oh, so it's football.
You know what? It's now canon, and this is going to be true. He's the football and lacrosse team captain.
Okay, first off, what community colleges has a football and a lacrosse team?
I don't know, but this one does.
Apparently so.
They're actually both just club teams.
Yeah.
And they play against a number of other, but the school itself doesn't sponsor the team. And that's both the football and the lacrosse team. The lacrosse team is literally him and 5 friends. That's it. They don't have a second line.
Oh, I'm sorry. Him and his 5 friends don't have a good ending then.
Yeah, well,
no, we meet his 5 friends.
But the football team, on the other hand, that is a 27 people on that team.
Yeah.
It is actually the pride of this school. Of Red
Creek Community College.
Red Creek Community College. Yeah. It is the pride of this, and he's one of the captains.
Yeah.
They have 4 captains.
Okay.
It's a standard football team. You got 4 captains.
Okay. But yeah. But Brad and his 5 friends. Yeah. Not a happy ending for them.
Not a good for them.
No, we won't meet them, and the lacrosse team is not going to exist after this in a couple of chapters.
All right. They were thinking about putting a rugby team together.
Yeah.
And then they saw how rugby was played, and they were like, you know what? No.
No. Brad was like, yeah, and like, oh, the answer is no. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was like, no. Okay, fine. They could not come up with a good enough haka.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
Still kind of going to that big picture. Based on the big picture here.
Oh yeah.
Where we start and how this chapter ends, do you think it makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. This was to give a little insight into Sage himself.
Yes.
And it purely is Sage is frustrated at the internet because for some strange reason he can't find anything.
Yeah, by the way, I wrote that down. Where is it? A time where no search results could come up.
Yes.
You tell that to someone now.
Oh my God.
There was a time that you could type something in and
they would
nothing.
think that there was something wrong with the internet.
Yes. That tells you this was written at a time
when you could still run into a no results found.
And it could be something common.
Yeah.
Like, that's how early, like 2004, 2005, when this was being written.
There was still so little of the internet. But there was so much porn.
Yes.
That is what the internet is for.
Yes. I wrote that down. I was like, God, comment on that. Because people are, if you're listening to this and you're a Gen Z, you're not going to believe
Alpha?
it. Some millennials won't believe this.
I know.
But yeah, that was a time.
All of those Gen Xers, on the other hand, you're going, yeah. I remember those days.
So I wrote that down there. But yeah, obviously this is a chapter to get into the mystery of Sage.
Yeah.
Though we saw the mystery of Sage in the first his first chapter.
Raven just goes, "Here's the mystery."
No. I'm talking about I'm talking about the second chapter.
Oh, Oh, yeah.
We already solved it.
I know.
But this is supposed to be the mystery because I didn't understand how to write that.
You could have just left it as a dream instead of him waking up with glowing hair and glowing eyes.
The idea was it's there for foreshadowing in a sense, but the foreshadowing is not foreshadowing. It's
just a reveal.
It's hey, look at this guy. He's clearly not normal.
It's kind of wild on that.
It's one of the things to say something like that if it was not because it's clearly the narrator pointing this out.
Right.
Because he can't do that. It would have been better to see it cut from there to this whole thing. A good portion of that scene was from Natalie's point of view at the door.
Yeah.
And saying, was it just me or was his hair blue?
Or you could do, what's that light coming from under his door?
Yeah.
And that's why she opens it. But by the time she opens it, it stops.
Yeah. Again, first novel, I
and
knew
she could be like, was that a car driving by or something?
I understood foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I clearly didn't know how to do it well.
Yeah, you weren't.
I was like, okay, this is me spotting a shot. There's a spotlight here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to point it out. No. There's a spotlight already there by me writing it. I put a spotlight on the spotlight.
Yeah, you kind of made it too obvious.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it was kind of expected that it was Sage already.
But you don't know. It's the full mystery hasn't been revealed. But it's revealed. Yeah. You will know who it is, probably where I'm going with it, before it's revealed. There's a spot where it could be taken, that it's told later on, but you could be interpreted as something else.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go any more for that.
Okay.
But at least you felt like, besides the backstory, the whole point was more to focus on these new powers that are starting to, these new abilities, he can be able to run super fast. Maybe mind read, which brings me to a point of
wait, what?
Whose one were we in at the very end? Because apparently I counted 4: Brad, Sage, Brad's friend, and Skinny Guy.
And then also teacher.
Oh, you got a teacher? You actually felt like we got it from a teacher's point of view? I know he shows up, but I don't think we actually get it. It's still from Sage's viewpoint. But we're reading it.
No, that was from. Sorry, that was just he walked in.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a bunch of head hopping really quickly.
Yeah, that is kind of true.
Which you could work, but you have to make it clear that this it's in the narrator.
Yeah.
But informing this, but it's one of those things where But yeah. But yes, here's the thing is though. Those things is kind of there in the thing with Natalie of what she's going to do was meant to be he can kind of read, he might be able to read minds.
Oh,
but it never comes back later on.
Do you know what it straight up comes across as?
What?
I have a horny little sister. She's going to do something stupid. All right.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was hoping for. It's also kind of that little pop of thought is kind of meant there to be a precursor to later on as well.
Yeah. No, that came purely across as she's gonna do something sneaky because I told her all the ways that she won't be able to get away with it. All right.
Also, I love how Sage doesn't have a problem telling an elderly woman to stalk her teenage girl if she leaves.
Well, yeah, of course.
Though when he actually calls her, he says, "Just call me."
Just call me.
But he tells Natalie, if she leaves, she's going to follow you.
She's going to follow you. Come back here. Okay there, Mrs. Rose. Go home and take your meds. Shut up. I'm 52.
But yes, it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, 2005. Yeah, I could see some people doing that, thinking that it's okay to tell an elderly person to go stalk
someone.
Keep
an eye on them.
Yeah, you keep an eye. Follow them when they leave.
Yeah, follow them.
No.
Use surveillance. Use the drones. I gave you all of them.
Also, I love how it you refer to teacher. Clearly, this is still high school.
This is just teacher
instead of professor.
Oh yeah, teacher.
I saw that. But also, Natalie calling to ask permission to go to a boys.
I know. At least she was doing that.
Okay, so No, I'm gonna say for the chapter this becomes relevant in.
Uh-huh.
But there's something about Natalie that's like we're getting like a typical. Natalie, I wrote down here Natalie being a teenage girl.
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
That's just teenage moments.
In the next chapter or two, whenever we meet the high school version of Brad.
Josh
chapter.
Nip.
Yeah. Nap. Because he likes to take naps. But yeah, when we get to that chapter, no, we'll wait for that. But,
Okay.
So Adam, you want some secret information here?
What? Give me that secret information, my bro.
So a lot of the information in the beginning of this chapter is me.
Yeah, no way.
Snapple.
The Snapple, the Pepsi. By the way,
that was my drink. That was one of my drinks at the time, and I put them in there because, like, well, I was drinking a lot of Snapple at the time. Snapple raspberry iced tea, nothing else. Everything else was an abomination, except for iced tea Snapple if they didn't have raspberry. And yes, the Pepsi was there. I would drink Pepsi when I was tired, though it only lasts for a short period of time.
Because it's a sugar rush.
I know. Oh, I know. But it's one of those things where you don't really think about it.
There's honestly not enough caffeine in a Mountain Dew or a Pepsi to actually give you a caffeine boost. It's more of the sugar boost that you get. It
depends on what your tolerance for caffeine is.
Also, one of us has, ADHD and may or may not have to caffeinate himself that way, which would mean that my tolerance... Yeah, drinking a Pepsi would be the afternoon drink.
Yes, I've been there before. Also, the cafe and my spot was my spot in the cafe.
Really? No way.
Yep. It's like
I would not assume that you would purposely sit at the table that was up on probably what? The stage was 4 inches off the ground?
It was basically about
3.5, 4 inches off the ground.
Yeah, maybe 5 at the most. I think it was probably about 5. You could say
not
5
enough to make you feel that you're actually stepping up on a stage.
Nope.
You're on a slightly raised platform.
Yep, because in the corner it was like a little, and they had a chair, a table on there, and that was mine. I would if I walked into the cafe and there was someone on there, I was pissed off. And then the two closest ones became my spots. I'd always move back and forth between them.
Either one of these.
After a while, I stopped using that top spot, but at the time, that was my spot, and I hated it. Also, Sage having no problem leaving his stuff.
Holy crap, dude.
Oh, I would do that all the time. And I wasn't the only one at my school would do this. We'd be like, we're in there, we're working on something, we're working on our homework. Oh, it's dinner time. Let's go to the dinner. Leave our stuff right there. Yeah. At one point, after one of the managers left, because
I'd be more worried about people finding my, search history.
But eventually, the wife of someone who worked on the campus, I think it was one of the maintenance people.
Yeah.
She took over, so it wasn't an actual student, like a married student who was running it, and they left after and everything. She incorporated you cannot leave your stuff here.
Oh.
Though I left my stuff there all the time.
Yeah.
But I would talk.
Because down with the man.
Oh no, because I would actually talk. I would go and talk to all of them. And generally if my stuff was in a spot that was, in a heavy
in a heavy traffic area.
I would move it to one of the other areas. I'd move it some away from I wouldn't leave it up on my stop. Eventually, I started moving more towards the table closest to the I want to call it the S curve bar for there, but it wasn't really an S curve, but it was like what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Closer because I would always talk to I talked to every single person on that staff. So I got away with it after she incorporated it because I even talked to her. All the time, the manager all the time. So,
I just gotta step out for a second. Do you guys?
Oh, and when I say I had to step out, when I'd leave, there'd be sometimes I'd leave for like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Jeez.
At times, I would go from there to the boys' dorm to the basement where the gym was to work out, and be and then go back. Yeah, not all the times. When I was living in the dorm, I would actually pack my stuff.
2004 was a different year, man.
Yeah, when I lived in the dorms, I would pack my stuff up and take it back to my dorm room because I'm right there.
2024. I wouldn't leave my home computer open. All right.
But yeah,
You know why? Because I probably have a roommate who would go, well, time to look up his search history. And I'd be like, look, I have a lot of things to explain, but I will not explain those 4 things.
The thing, also I love the use of on the net.
The net.
The net. You could, it's, when you think about it, I could hear that. Most people like the web.
It's still a dated. No, there was. I was a net kid.
You know, yeah, we were. But like nowadays, you say on the net, and they're like, "What are you talking about? The web?" Well, because it's called the internet, so we would call it. But also
Google.
The web. Yeah,
on the Google.
On the Google. Chromebooks.
Oh God.
Also, one thing I wanted to point out here. Raven, what color is her hair?
Dark brown.
Okay. Why do I picture her as with jet black hair?
I don't know.
I read this. I've transcribed this scene already a while ago. But every time she popped up, I pictured her with dark hair. I knew she had dark brown hair, but I kept picturing her as and it's not because her name's Raven, but I just always pictured her as dark hair. I think it has something to do with the modern day version of her. She has dark black hair. And that's I still kind of picture that.
You know what's really hilarious?
What's that?
The moment that, it was like dark brown hair, and I was like, okay, I immediately pictured one of my ex-girlfriends.
Uh-huh.
And I know exactly which one it is, and I was like, physically, yes. I can't base that character attitude-wise on her, because Raven would become like the worst character you ever had. Everyone would hate that character.
Okay.
I would hate that character.
So she's no Jenna?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So
I enjoy Jenna.
Yeah. Not the question Jenna?
No. Badass Jenna was fun.
You mean main character Jenna?
Main MC Jenna.
MC Jenna. No, sorry. No, Skylar, you're not the main character anymore.
No, he was he just became little Skylar off to the side.
like, oh no, high ankle sprain.
My high ankle sprain.
I gotta wait here, and then
I have to recharge and wait here. And Jenna's like, recharge
and nail my girlfriend while you go and do all this other stuff.
Absolutely unnecessary things.
But yeah. That's all I have.
Okay.
But anything that you want to add to this?
No, not really. I mean, it was an exposition chapter.
Yes.
It was hey, this is who Sage is.
You could do...
Okay, this is what he does.
And it works as an exposition chapter. It's just got to be written better.
He's at school and he's just hanging out.
It could have been cut down much shorter.
Yeah. I would have actually taken him to the library.
So, actually, I think it would have been better to maybe start in the library.
Yeah.
And he goes, he needs a drink. He goes over.
And then talks with her. And she's like, maybe I saw a book over there.
You might want to check that. And it's on his way back when he runs into that.
Yeah, that way you can describe every single step he takes from the library to the cafe.
And
the taking of his wallet out of his pocket. He reached into his pocket to take his wallet out of his pocket.
Get used to it. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Maybe not worse. It's just going to get old.
There were...
And come back as retro. And then get old again.
Yeah.
And maybe retro about 2 more times. Because I...
There's a nostalgia moment.
Yeah.
And then people hate it again.
No. There's not going to be a nostalgia moment. There's going to be like 12 of them.
All right.
Because I describe every movement there is. And Adam, how many words are in this novel?
79,120.
Yeah,
approximately.
This could probably have been dropped down to 65 if I summarized half those statements into he just pulled his wallet from his pocket.
He reached into his pocket
Okay, yeah.
and pulled his
Well-
wallet out of his pocket.
Or he pulled his
Took his
pocket.
wallet out.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Like that's,
Opened it.
you don't even have to say he took it out of his pocket or that he reached. He took out his wallet.
Unless it's somewhere where it's not common.
He
took
reached into his
the
inner pocket of his
jacket.
of his jacket.
Yes.
And pulled out his wallet.
That
Okay,
makes
now
sense.
you
He pulled it out of his purse. Wait, he has a purse?
wait. Okay, I mean progressive.
He pulled it out of his backpack. Okay.
We do call that a merce, though.
Yeah. You could. It's. But you're assuming his wallet was in his pocket.
Yes.
Or if it's on the table, he picked up his wallet from the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know it wasn't in his pocket. and
As he
everything.
stood up, he grabbed his stuff, his wallet, his keys, and
No.
his cell phone. Wait, they don't have. You mean the fold-over phone, the
Yes.
flip phone?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a flip phone. He had to nine the had the 9-digit texting.
Yes. Oh,
fuck.
God.
I have
It's one
I
of
have to
these-
use a QR or S or T Q PQRS was the worst. If you needed any of those, especially if you needed an S,
Yes. Oh,
you're like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay,
no.
pause.
To this day, there is no one as skilled at texting than the people who got good at texting
Yeah.
on a flip phone.
Yeah.
Like when
Pop,
you're
pop, 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 pop,
when
pop,
you're
pop,
watch when you're I was rewatching Burn Notice and watching Michael text under the table
under the table.
and texting it, and it's just like no, you like that's not believable. But at the
No.
same time, it's like no, he's skilled to the point where yes, it is believable. He could do that
He's
on the
counting
table.
them in his head as he's hitting these buttons.
He's trained it so well that he can have the conversation put on a face while typing something out underneath her and keep track of how many times he's pushed that button,
Yep.
where that button is, and do it super fast. Yeah, people who could do that are the most skilled people at texting ever. No matter how fast you can text on a keyboard now, your little phones now. Nope. You try on the nine dial.
Now you just have text to speech.
yeah.
So it'd be like, oh man, please come quick. They're sitting across from me and threatening me right now. You just go, record, and just hold it there.
Ah!
Yeah. I will kill you. You will die from the torture that I will put you through. And then you hit send. And you're like, all right.
That technically, that could be if it's you actually have a voice of it, it's recording, and it depends on what state you're in. If you have to let them know.
I know that.
But now if you're hold down in each voice to text, I don't know.
No, I think that's slightly different. We're gonna go with voice to text.
If you go
Can
voice
you
to
imagine you're sitting at home, you get a text message, and it's super threatening.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what the hell is this? And then another one comes in, and it's from your bro, and you're like, I think. Are you using text to speech? Speech to text?
Is your life in danger? Oh no,
Is your life in danger?
You do that in the next Scream movie. He's like,
The
text
hell
to
is
speech.
going on?
I don't have my thumbs have been cut off. One of my thumbs cut off, so I can't really text. So I have to do voice to text. So he just leaves it on, and it's there's like, what the?
I'm coming to get you.
Are you?
You're gonna die.
Are you
Are you okay?
Are you okay? You're doing voice to text again. Turn the movie down.
Yes.
And it's like, only to find out later on that was
the killer.
Yes. But yeah. So, but yeah, it's an interesting chapter. A rewrite and
probably.
finding it out and ways can
That
make it
would
better.
be-
Better.
that would be
also
better.
one of the best things that you could even set up the conflict between Brad and the other guy. Have him in there. Have
Have
Brad's
them in-
friend come in there, or maybe it's Brad seeing them talk and then them leave.
Yeah.
Or have Brad get kicked out or something like that at the beginning as he walks in.
Yeah.
So when the kid leaves, he comes out. He's walking into it. And the way the camp is set up, he wouldn't have to go all the way around. He would actually, where they are, he'd be able to see them. So you didn't even have to go all the way around. It could be off there, which would make it awkward for people who are coming to the cafe, coming out and seeing this thing happen in the back there and doing.
I don't see anything.
I don't see anything. Oh, they're just they're just boys being boys.
It's just boys being horsing around.
They're just horsing around. They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. All right, so there we go. That's chapter 3, and we went longer than I thought we would go. How long is it?
33.
With about 15, 20-minute reading. Okay,
Yeah.
works. Oh well.
It's a long episode.
Oh, whatever. We had stuff to talk.
Yes,
important
we did.
stuff. Junior janitors was important. We had to talk about it.
Oh, the junior janitors.
Not many people know this was my drink at the time, my spot at the time.
It's kind of obvious.
I know. When it's your first novel and you're like, okay, I'm in a cafe. I'm putting a cafe scene.
Yeah, I'm putting this cafe right in
Okay, here
there.
we go. Just use this. Why not?
Yeah.
So, I don't need a map. I can literally look up. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So you made this far. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, why don't you go on and smash that like button as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe because I got writing content on this channel. If you speaking of that content, they'll be on screen now. The rest of the other podcast episodes, the playlist will be up here for the Storytime Season 1. If you're listening to it later on, there will be a link to the full audiobook if it's the podcast the season has completed as well. If not, there'll be something else up on here that's best suited for you. Also, don't forget to go check out Adam's channel if you enjoy bad video game play.
Go on over there. We're having way too much fun playing games badly.
Yes, you are. But there you go. Whatever you pick, we'll see you there. Thank you. Bye.